Take a look at this. Here's an update on Trump Care. Trump calls House health bill that he celebrated in the Rose Garden mean. What? Dude, you were just doing the thing where you're tremendous. This bill is tremendous. Believe me. Let me just tell you. This is a bill, it's so much better than Obamacare. Obamacare is the past. Failing Obamacare is crumbling in front of our eyes. We need Trump Care. This bill's amazing. Let me just tell you. Believe me. He was just doing the thing. We had a fucking photo op, and all the Republicans said laughing in the rows, oh, yes, take healthcare away from poor people and call it reform. Oh, yes. But behind closed doors, in private meetings, he's going, it bill's mean as a motherfucker. So, what do they go on to point out? What's he referring to? He's referring to the fact that the original bill, which was also, by the way, very mean, the original bill still had the protections for people with pre-existing conditions. The essential benefits portion of Obamacare was still intact. So, a health insurance company can't just reject you because you have a pre-existing condition, because that's crazy. Then we set up a system where the people who need care the most don't get it. The company just go, yeah, we don't want to cover you because you're sick. Yeah, but that's why they need fucking coverage. They're sick. Yeah, but we're not going to make money, so no. So Trump and so-called moderate Republicans were like, oh, come on, we got to keep you in the essential health benefits. And in reality, what that is Republicans and, senators and congressmen who are from more blue states, they can't vote to axe the protections for pre-existing conditions because then they're just voting away their political future. Everybody's going to vote you out if you do that. So they were like, yeah, let's ruin everything else, but we can't go that far and get rid of the protections for pre-existing conditions. But the so-called Freedom Caucus, hilariously named, by the way, there's never been a more inappropriate name than the Freedom Caucus for the far-right Tea Partiers. They went, no, we need to get rid of all of it. All of Obamacare. So even the protections for people with pre-existing conditions, we're going to get rid of that and pretend like we're the good guys. What? So even the other Republicans were like, I don't know, son. That's a little wild. Not sure I'm in favor of it. But they ironed out a deal where they indeed do get rid of it. And what they did is they said, oh, come on. We got to be reasonable here. What we'll do is we'll allow states to opt out of the protections for people with pre-existing conditions. So under that scenario, what would happen is all the red states would say, no protections for people with pre-existing conditions. Aren't we so great? Isn't this a great idea? Aren't we helping the people? And the blue states would remain with the protections. So that was their compromise. That passed the House. Now it's going to the Senate, and the senators are like, if we pass this, there might be 100 Democrats in the Senate next election. So, and Trump, even Trump realizes this, like, oh yeah, that's mean. I mean, our bill before was bad, but this is like bad and just mean. Really? You're going to take away people's protections for pre-existing conditions? So look, it shows you, man, it's all a fucking game. And you know what? I'm actually impressed by Trump on this one. Not necessarily because he's calling it mean when it is mean, but because he knows any of the provisions in the bill. Because we've covered stories before that every time he was interviewed on his own bill and he was asked like details, he would, you know what he would do? He would just pivot and start talking about the process of getting the bill passed. He's like, yeah, it was tremendous. What we did is we met with a lot of the people, Freedom Caucus people, tremendous people, good people, some of the best people. And what we would do is we would figure out how we're going to move forward and how we're going to make a deal. We're going to make a tremendous deal. We made a tremendous deal. Let me just tell you. Believe me. And the people who were interviewing him would be like, Mr. Trump, I asked you about the provisions of the bill. He's like, yes, we made a tremendous deal. So he would always dodge. So, my reading of that was, along with many other people, he doesn't know any provisions of his own bill. He has no clue how his bill works. None whatsoever. Well, he apparently knows enough to say, oh, the House bill takes away protections for pre-existing conditions, and that's mean. So credit to Trump for knowing, like, maybe 1% of what's in his own healthcare bill, which, by the way, has an approval rating of 17%. They passed a bill in the House that has a bill that has an approval rating of 17%. It would leave a total of 53 million people uninsured. It cuts Medicaid by $880 billion. It's a tax cut to the rich of each person in the top 0.1% gets an extra $200,000 in their bank account every year. So the bill's a disaster, and even Trump understands that the House version of the bill is, quote, mean. So we'll see what they do for the Senate version, but I wouldn't expect much better than just them putting back in the protection for pre-existing conditions, and maybe a few other things. But there's no way that whatever they iron out is going to be preferable to Obamacare, because I got news for everybody. Obamacare is the original right-wing healthcare reform. That's the Heritage Foundation plan, Bob Dole's plan, Richard Nixon's plan, Mitt Romney's plan. So the Democrats did the Republican plan. So now the Republicans have nowhere to go but further right. And what's further right? No fucking plan at all. No reform at all. It's an amalgamation of talk radio talking points. I don't know, allow people to buy insurance across state lines and like gut Medicaid more, and then everything will work out or something. So they have no more ideas left because the Democrats did the old Republican ideas. So Republicans move right off a fucking cliff. And now some of them are even starting to realize, oh, we have like no idea what we're doing, and our bill is fucking mean. So both hilarious and tragic.